Alright, let's go. It's a best of 3 PvT. The Protoss player in the top left, Sandstorm Gaming's MAXPAX. Looking maxed, looking paxed. His opponent in the bottom right, hopefully not so liquid, because, I don't know, for me, if I was like, he's looking liquid, it kind of sounds like he wet himself. And I don't think that's what's going to happen, because it's CLEM. He's a beast. He's a very smart player, very high-level Terran player, who's incredibly consistent in this matchup recently. But I would say his weakness has always been his predictability. Unlike guys like Bjorn, who I think are very capable of diving at just about any moment. You never know when to expect it. Is he going to just pick up his army and drop in your main? What's going on and where is he pushing? I do feel like CLEM and Cure both fall into a bit more of a predictable camp. On the other hand, if you let them get a good opening and in a good position, oh my lord, it's so hard to stop them. It just feels like the CLEMs and the Cures of this world can be taken advantage of, but you really need to work hard to do that. And already great harassment by MAXPAX. Gets a good little bit of damage, but notice he's used up all of his shields. So if he wants to block the command center, he would need to rotate back. You need to get there before a minute 40. A minute 41 is usually the earliest they can get the command center. And very nice. Notice he's just circling around the edge, denying this command center for a long time, and CLEM still hasn't put it down. Oh, MAXPAX don't lose the probe. I think he gets out of there. Yep, nicely done. That was a really good denial. Now, if he was going for a slightly earlier gateway, he might get across there to cancel it. But even if he wasn't supply blocked for a few seconds, and he was supply blocked for a good 2 seconds there, I don't think this Adept can get there in time. Just because Golden Aura, it's quite a long distance. If you look at this map, I mean, we're going to scroll the whole way across. It takes a while to get over there. But we'll see what he can pull off. It's a Reaper for CLEM, and he's scouting around for nearby proxy locations. If you go Reaper and don't send an SCV scout, normally you need to do this. And this is the modern opening. I've started teaching this actually in my Diamond Bronze to GM as well. The 2 Marines with the Reaper with no SCV scout. And it's Maru, I feel, does it all the time. CLEM does it all the time. These guys are all mixing it in there. And it does seem incredibly safe because 2 Marines and a Reaper can beat an Adept. And especially with that bunker coming up quite early as well, it's very tough for the Protoss to take you on. Good pullback by MAXPAX. Does he let the Shade finish? Nah. Bit too risky. Turns around and starts chasing the Reaper. But man, CLEM's Reaper micro is sick. Even though he's only got a single range advantage over the Adept, many times in the past have we seen him kill an Adept with a Reaper without getting hit in return. Hellion's on the way, and that Reaper will go across the map for scouting. 1 SCV left on the natural, ready to repair. And Blink starts up here for MAXPAX. Now, one of the big things that I think may have hurt CLEM's confidence recently against MAXPAX was, I remember there was a game where he did a big amount of damage with the Widow Mine drop. He scouted it was 4-gate Blink. He should have been ready for it, and he died anyway. And I feel like this is something that, you know, MAXPAX has that parting effect right now, where he's the one player where you can scout his dumb all incoming, or maybe not dumb, but predictable, I guess you could call it. Dumb's a bit of a strong word. And he'll still find a way to kill you with it, even when you've got like 2 bunkers and a tank. Adept managed to get rid of the Hellion there. 1 Adept does go down. Only 1 probe's fall in this game. So far, a very good start for MAXPAX. He's denied a lot of mining time. He's up 6 workers. Definitely, I wouldn't call anything MAXPAX does dumb. You can absolutely level that word, I think, at Hero sometimes, where Hero is this mixture of kind of almost idiotic chaos that doesn't always add up. Sometimes it falls apart. Sometimes it works in the most spectacularly brilliant fashion. MAXPAX is a little bit more tried, tested, and true practiced strategies. And we're going to be seeing that 3-gate Blink. He has been favoring 3-gate Blink quite a bit lately. It's not as committed as 4-gate Blink. You can still put on some decent pressure, but almost certainly going to be taking a faster 3rd base behind it. Tank and Raven's on the way here. Now notice CLEM did not get a Widow Mine dropout. He did not get a Cyclone to help push back the Adept. This is a very, very defensive opening. And I do wonder how many tanks he builds. He's going to siege that tank right there. We should see that starport lift off and build itself a reactor in a moment. And the Raven really is the only harassment unit available. But often you want to keep that Raven back, try to snipe any observers, and then send it across to harass a little later in the game. Double bunker going up on the natural. That is the Europeans' favorite against these sort of styles. Third and 4th gas is on the way here. CLEM definitely worried about the aggression, but we can see it's a much quicker 3rd base. And probes coming in. And the Stalker's going to stop that bunker from building. And actually going to blink right past. Good move. With no siege tank on the natural, they can do some damage there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, it's hard to blink across there. He does lose 2 Stalkers. Could have been worse. He does get 4 SCVs and a bunch of mining time. I think that's okay for MAXPAX. That definitely look dangerous because you really need to be right up against the edge flush in order to blink across there. And he could have lost a lot more if he stayed just a little bit longer. Now, of course, Stim started. You are going to see a 3rd siege tank, and then this barracks will swap onto that tech lab. We should see a reactor building on that starport and medevacs in the near future. But a little supply block right now is Clem. You know, he lost that building depot. It's delayed him from building units for a little bit. Feels a little bit uncomfortable. Getting a depot would be great. Observer does get taken out. Raven doing its job there very well. See, oh, Stalker drop on the top. Not going to find much. And MAXPAX definitely should be playing a very passive version of this now. And when I say passive, I don't mean run home, but I mean careful, I think is a better word than passive. Keep those Stalkers alive. Don't let any of them die. And he should be able to get to the next step. I've seen MAXPAX make comebacks from pretty rough positions. This opening is not that. This opening is looking very good for him. And oh my, Templar Archives. I'm so used to seeing MAXPAX just play always Colossus every single time. And mixing in the Storm could be an amazing way to catch Clem off guard. I mean, we've seen Hero just make Terran players look absolutely helpless in the face of his Storm drops. Now, you gotta be careful. Stim's gonna be done in a second. You do not want to risk going in too deep. 3rd command center starts here at about 6 minutes 30 for Clem. +1 weapons is finishing for him, but the Forge is not too far behind. +1's halfway done for MAXPAX. Protoss usually starts the upgrades later, but then catches up using Chrono Boost. And those upgrades, which have been buffed multiple times in recent patches to make them only slightly slower than the Terran upgrades. For those who don't know, Protoss upgrades, because of the way Chrono Boost meshes with them, were nerfed a bunch of times to be slower and slower, and Terran Zergs were struggling against a lot of timing attacks with like +1 and +2. And it's kind of funny to see those slowly getting rescinded, those nerfs to the Protoss upgrades over the last year. Tank starting to get whittled down. 1 Marine falls. Good micro for MAXPAX at the first start, but at the end of it, 1 Marine for 1 Stalker. It's a good trade. If Clem sneaks this drop by, he's going to ruin him. There is an Observer up there, which is nice. There's a 4th base on the way. But the real important thing is the Storm. Honestly, the Prism needs to get back. He's going for a Zealot drop, though. MAXPAX will not be perturbed. He says, nope, Zealot drop, let's go. As long as those Zealots keep focusing the SCVs, which they do, that can be very effective. Does he warp in? And that's a good choice not to warp in. He sees that Clem's already got army there. He knows he's not going to get all that much. And he actually recalls the Prism. Oh, the Observer's going to spot this as well. Watch out, Clem. Watch out. Wait, MAXPAX is not watching. Okay, he is. MAXPAX seems to have realized what's up. That was the worst blink ever. They blinked from there to there. That did not help out, but he warps a few Stalkers in. Clem diving here, and at the same time, he's pushing the front. Oh god, MAXPAX needs to shut this down, but he does shut down one of the medevacs, which means there's no way out. And even though Clem makes the best of it by focusing down some Stalkers and probes, he's going to lose his whole army. And that means I don't think this army gets in position in time. Yes, he can start sieging the base, but oh, feedback out of MAXPAX comes in all over the Raven. The Zealots taking that one to the face. There's some Zealots ready for a bit of a counterattack as well. Remember, Clem's 3rd base has only just landed back at home. He really wants to find some damage, but that Prism is incredibly dangerous. And he's only got that one little pack of Marines. The Widow Mines, the tanks, the Marauders, a very scary combo. But once those Marines are gone, the Zealots will win the day. And he's got to dodge the Storm. Watch out for the Storm. Great spreadies for Clem. But is he able to defend his tanks? The answer is no. The Zealots came in with a good enough angle. They got in there. They forced the Widow Mines to friendly fire just as much as they hit the Zealots. And the 3rd base gets lifted behind it. A fantastic hold for MAXPAX, who has a 4th base. And if he can defend the rest of this army, then he's in... Oh, no. Clem just cursed himself. Clem just killed Crabbers. He killed Mr. Crabbers right there. If you kill the defenseless critter on the maps, basically it's like kicking a puppy, guys. It's 7 years bad luck upon your family and your name. And Clem, the psychopath, I love that. With a red hit point army in the midst of enemy territory, he says, let's stop for half a second to shoot this crab in the face. This man was in an action scene. We thought he was the good guy, and he literally just did a full-on villain move. And he is now behind. Let's be real. He was going to be behind it. Whether or not he killed Mr. Crabbers, maybe he's giving himself an excuse, giving himself an out. +1 armor's on the way. 5 barracks, but is there a Ghost Academy? No Ghost Academy against a Storm style. And that's a lot of Zealots coming forward. Oh god, +2 attacks about to finish as well. We've got those 3 High Templar there in the Prism. Zealots catching Widow Mines before they burrow. Very nice there for Mr. MAXPAX. Storm drop trying to come in. That Raven is somehow still alive. Drops an auto turret, but it will be getting taken out by the Archon Splash. Zealot Stalker trying to push forward as well. More Zealots warping in on the front. Clem, oh, he takes a big storm on the bottom. That top mineral line was exposed, and MAXPAX is going to take the first map with flying colors on Golden Aura. All right, going into game 2, we've got MAXPAX repping Psystorm. He had a very smooth game 1 there, and then the Storm definitely helped out as well. But the Zealot drop did seem to catch Clem off guard. I like that he came in behind the Natural. I've been talking for years about how every Protoss will always drop in the same spot in the main, and every Zerg and every Terran will, and the back of the Natural is almost always wide open. And yeah, it's a bit closer to where the units are normally rallied, but I've talked so many times over the years to players about, I'm like, hey, you know, there is more than one drop angle, right? Against a 2-base opponent or a 3-base opponent. Even mech players often have like 12 turrets on the edge of their main and nothing behind their Natural, so definitely something to do. Command center's on the way as well. We've got the Reaper starting up. SEV building. Alright, Cybercore just finished. Adept coming out, being chrono boosted as per usual. Clem did SCV scout this time, and because he sees it's an expand build, he can send his Reaper straight across the map. It's going to go for the factory into the bunker. This is a very standard opening. You should see an SCV start up right here. Loses only half a second of SCV build time. Super tight build order. Now, obviously, if the shade goes on top, it's only going to get 1 hit. And he actually tracks the shade to make sure it wasn't going across the map. Beautiful micro by Clem. I'm so good at making sure that it is like, if that Adept does actually complete the shade, I could probably go into Scout, but he doesn't actually get to see with that one. And Twilight into second gateway does go down. Adept is well positioned. It sees the whole main base and the gateway and the pylon at the front. We'll see if the Reaper runs in there. Factory's about to finish. Alien on the way, and the Starport should be going down momentarily. Reaper almost gets taken out. Adept's trying to finish him off, but it looks like he should just barely get out of here. Well done. Starport was a few seconds delayed, but nothing to be too worried about for young Clement. Now, this map is not great for 4-gate blink. It's a bit awkward blinking up and down this ledge. There's not that much space to cover, but you can blink across this ledge like really easily. You can blink from like here to here, so definitely can be useful. Robo goes down now. Non-stop probing. We should see another pylon go down in a moment, I believe. But the Reaper's going to distract. If the Reaper distracts him from building the pylon, then it actually gets a lot of indirect damage, even if it doesn't kill any probes. So MAXPAX pulls his probes really well. But look, now the Hellions here. He's forgotten that pylon, guys. But you know what? Clem says, don't worry. I'll stop you from getting supply block. Clears up 3 of MAXPAX's supply for him. What a nice guy. What a nice bloke. Still no pylon. Oh my god, he starts a 3rd gateway and only then remembers the pylon. It's kind of funny, yeah. Losing those 3 probes is like not that bad because his pylon was so late, but he's still going to lose 2, maybe 2.5 probes of production here being supply blocked. Not MAXPAX's cleanest opening. That being said, a Reaper and a Hellion for 3 probes. I mean, cost for cost, it's okay. And there's a Cyclone this time. Cyclone very good for pushing those Adepts home. And it's going to get very close to killing that. Adepts are going to head on backwards. Raven's coming out. First siege tank and a 2nd and 3rd barracks. Now, Clem's lacking scouting. I'm surprised Clem hasn't been doing more of like hiding a random marine on the edge of the map to try to come in and scout for 3rd bases. Because if you see that 3rd base down before the 5-minute mark, you can usually assume there's no 4-gate blink. But interestingly, this is 2-gate blink into a gas and an early prism. So he's like really trying to put on a lot of pressure off just... Sorry, there's a 3rd gateway. It's not 2-gate. That makes a little bit more sense. It's the same build as last game. MAXPAX's favorite build recently, especially against Clem, who's going 2nd bunker into 2nd tank. He's got a super solid wall off there. And, oh, he's going to blink in. Okay, if you get rid of that bunker, the other bunker doesn't really cover things that well. Oh, okay, only 1 Stalker went down, as well as 1 Adept. No, the other Adept actually survived. There's still 2 Adepts up. Nicely done. Did he leave it at home? Or am I blind? There are 2 Adepts in that army. I am, in fact, blind. Still got 1 bunker on the natural, so Clem should be okay for now. Dark Shrine starts up as well as a 3rd Nexus. Now, why did he start the Dark Shrine? I believe it's because he didn't think there was a Raven out, not seeing one at home, but he now sees the Raven, and I'd just cancel that Dark Shrine if I were you. Yeah. I'm like, you know when a Raven, like, this is like your opponent scouting your Fusion Core with Corruptors, and you're like, those already counter the battle cruisers before I've started building them. Yeah, we should probably cancel that. Like, we probably don't want to be building Dark Templar against a Raven scouting the structure that builds them 2 minutes ahead of time. Depot and an add-on going down. This is actually really good chip damage. Just kind of chipping away at Clem's setup. MAXPAX is supply blocked again on 78. This is... Guys, he's still not building a pylon. MAXPAX, what are we doing, mate? I mean, this kind of turns into, whether it's conscious or not, him basically saying, that's fine, I'm just going to mass gaze. He's on 800 minerals. MAXPAX macro is lacking in this game, but he does trap the Raven. So tactically, he's been doing really well on the engagements, the micro. But man, his macro has sucked. It's kind of like watching Dark. It's rare for MAXPAX to play a sloppy macro like that. 2 supply blocks before the 7-minute mark in one game. Uncharacteristic. Storm is on the way. We've got the first High Templar starting to warp in and gather that Storm energy. Third command center starts here at 6 minutes 50. Does feel like Clem lacks any oomph in his play right now. Any ability to really get MAXPAX on the back foot, right? Clem is very much turtled up. He's playing super duper safe. His Raven is trapped on that left side. He'd love to go save. If he could save that Raven, that'd be great. But as it is, there's an observer just having a cheeky perv from the high ground. Sees the army moving out. Knows exactly what's going on. MAXPAX has got those 3 High Templar with Storm now. Where are those High Templar, by the way, guys? Looks like they're in the Warp Prism in the natural. He's not going for the Zealot drop this time around. Good blink backs. Those units want that Red Hit Point Stalker bad. You can see he's even targeted it. And he does get it. He even changed targets just at the end there because he'd started hitting a regular Stalker, then changed to get the Red Hit Point one. Very nicely done there by Clem. Archon warping in. Zealots warping in. 11 gateways. Way too many gateways for MAXPAX. But you know what? Zealot Archon is the most cheap composition. Pure gas on Archons, pure Zealots being warped out of the minerals. And that is definitely a decent style. And Clem actually running away might be the perfect call. If Clem can get lots of Widow Mines, lots of Ghosts, those are the units, especially if he gets a few Vikings out, that will destroy this. So if you can get 2 Vikings out, you drop an EMP on the Warp Prism, bam, it's got only 80 hit points. Your Vikings shoot twice, it dies, and suddenly Storm Drop's not a problem. But when Storm Drop is a problem, the issue you have is these 3 tanks are a big part of your army. Tanks suck against Zealot Archon, so that's bad. But also you're dodging the Storm, which means you've got to kind of run backwards and spread against the Storms, which means your tanks get left abandoned. Good blink dodge on the left side from MAXPAX. MAXPAX may have had a worker advantage for a while, but he's trying to get to a second, or a 4th base, sorry, as well as that upgrade. The Raven's still alive in that top side. But look at this, these units get separated. Oh, Clem, what are we doing? Clem leaving these units caught out in the middle of nowhere. And that is a little costly for him, losing a bit of the bio. The Storm coming in. Oh my god, he's so clumped. The command center is very low as well. But there's not enough Stalkers to focus it down. At least MAXPAX doesn't feel he has those numbers. Zealots are warping in 11 at a time. The second Forge is now up. But wait, that's not the second Forge. That's the first Forge. Hold that thought. He's on 0-0 versus 1-1. Ghost Academy's on the way. Third Orbital's making... I mean, this Observer seeing everything is such a problem for Clem, though. Clem... Oh, no, and his Widow Mines are going to go down on their own, doing almost nothing. Oh, this is such a good attack for MAXPAX. Catching Clem with his pants down around his ankles, but the Prism does get shot down by a Widow Mine. Can the Bio hang on? The SCVs are trying to get out of their command center cancels. He's trying to pull back. Clem needs to survive. The bigger these fights get, the better it is for him. Why couldn't he hang on? That's why, because he sent a double drop across the map. The 4th Nexus goes down, which means maybe Clem can make a play out of this. He saves all those units. The Widow Mine gets a good shot on those Zealots. This Bio here can out-micro the Zealot Archon, but he's got to micro both sides at once. Probe's trying to transfer from the main, I guess, to the 4th base that just died. Bunch more probes going down with those Stalkers here. You know this is a one-way trip, so he's going to just focus down whatever he can. And actually, somehow he saves a medevac. By the way, guys, that Raven did end up, I think, getting F2'd at some point in the panic, and it did die. Which is a shame, because it had max energy. If it ran in and dropped a bunch of auto turrets, it probably could have killed 10 probes. Look at the supply, look at the worker count, and you got to say, hey, those 1-1 upgrades have given you value. You're adding Ghosts now, that's good. But this one pervy boy Observer is giving MAXPAX way too much info. MAXPAX knows you're not sending units out to drop. Finally, Clem senses that someone's watching. You know, his parents always told him there's no one under the bed, there's no monsters under there. Mother Trucker just went. Finally, he braved up. He got his torch out. He looked under his bed. He saw MAXPAX's dirty face looking at him from under his bed. And he was like, Dad, you lied to me. There was a dirty Protoss under there. And his dad's like, oh, sorry. I don't know. I just thought you were making things up, young Clem. If Clem has another minute, he'll be able to hang on. But he definitely needs to stabilize. And there's a lot of Zealots getting ready to attack from the right. I think pre-spreading is one of the best things you can do here as Clem. Keep those units spread out. But Clem and all the top pros, they like to clump in a big ball so the opponent can get maximum storm damage. Now, obviously, I'm joking. They try to dodge reactively, and when they do it perfectly, it is better than pre-spreading. But when they mess up even a little, things can be very bad for them. Ooh, okay, that Viking really helping. Look at that Prism. That Prism's real low, guys. Oh, decent storm, but good dodge by Clem. And I think MAXPAX has to get out of here. MAXPAX economy is only on 59 probes. Oh my god, this drop's going to try and go into the natural. But look at that, MAXPAX with the preparation. I think that Stalker's going to shoot it down. And, oh, he does actually shoot it down. Okay, shoots it down there. Very nicely done. The Zealot's running into the natural, but the Rally should be able to defend that ramp okay, as long as he can defend the SCVs. The rest of the army comes down into those Archons. One of the Archons goes down. The Viking does go down. Units coming in from all sides. These SCVs are doing okay versus the Zealots as well. Clem's getting a very good fight. MAXPAX, like I said, he needs to turn that Frau upside down. He needs to get the elastic in those pants working and tuck that bad boy away for a moment and trying to get back to a decent economic spot, because he's so reliant on Storm right now. He's only got +1. He's down in upgrades. And look at this. A 4th command center starts. Another barracks is starting, which is... I guess he lost his 5th barracks on the low ground, did Clem, in the midst of that. So he's down to 4 barracks production. Widowmine on that left side could get a good hit if this army moves up in that direction. 4th command center has to get cancelled. Nice snipe for MAXPAX, who takes a 5th base behind this. But he's not thinking about robos at all. And this is fascinating because MAXPAX really, I think, as being the Protoss who's the most vocal about the disruptor supply change and feeling it makes him not feel as comfortable with them in the late game. And you can see he's trying to win with Storm. But this is a style Hero has a lot more experience than MAXPAX at. And I don't know if this is really MAXPAX MO of like, what do you do now that you weren't able to kill him? Yes, you're still up in economy. The Zealot run by is going to be usually a good choice, but so far, look at that, even EMPing them. And, ooh, Storm on the front does hold back Clem, though. Clem's got to be careful. And that 4th command center taking damage again. These guys will come down to defend. At the same time, Clem's trying to find a path south. That Widowmine is going to hit the Archon. Not too bad there. It doesn't really get much splash and everything. Clem's got to be careful. He's up in army supply, but he's stimmed a few times here. And whilst he has a lot of medevacs, those storms could ruin his day. He's trying to pick off units. Oh my god, watch out for the storms, though. The storms, and there's a lot of Stalker Zealot behind him. And he's already used the boost on the medevacs just to do that stutter step. His army is dangerously low. That's what I mean by dangerous moves, because one storm on that, or even the Stalkers blinking on top, could ruin him. MAXPAX trying to hunt him down, but he is losing so many Zealots that aren't even landing hits. The power of Clem's stutter step is truly vicious, but when the Stalkers blink forward, they take out a bunch of those Marauders. Clem's supply dropping. The Storm goes down as well. Oh gosh, this is actually so close in supply. It's neck and neck, barely a supply lead for Terran right now. +1 armor is about to kick in and even up those upgrades in a moment, but not just yet. Nice hold position, spready there for MAXPAX, setting off a few of those Widowmines, but there's more Widowmines behind that, and Clem can stutter step all day. I can dance all day, I can dance all day, and I can keep on getting headshots and headshots. He's got his knife out so he can run faster. Clem is fighting hard to hang on and survive. MAXPAX is committing everything into this fight. There's so many medevacs, too many medevacs, I would say. Liberators would actually be better here, and oh, that is a clutch storm at a very important moment. If Clem can hang on and survive, I think he's in a decent spot because he's got a 4th command center. But MAXPAX is really finding ways to do great damage with the offense, and he's going Colossus behind it, which is a big problem. Now, a lot of players would go double Robo Colossus. MAXPAX, as always, is a gateway man, but he's a technical gateway man, and that is why he likes to just go single Robo most of the time and focus more on Zealot activity, Storm drops being used and recycled from earlier in the game, trying to take more bases and really do it with his micro and his fast, accessible mobile army. But oh god, oh god, oh god, Clem fighting back at the Widowmine drop, gets 7 probes there. He's going to get some more. And it looks like a stray Archon gets caught out on that side. That Widowmine's only going to take out a single probe, so that's a bit of a better defense. Zealot on the left side for MAXPAX is doing some counter damage. He's got a few more Zealots planning to go in as well, but that gives a lot of time for Clem to prepare, so those Zealots better pull back, man, otherwise he could be in trouble. That Widowmine actually moves to a new base. I love that move there by Clem. Clem showing some really nice low-cost way of forcing cannons at every base, doing damage, really slowing down MAXPAX. It's so important when you feel like you've been on the defense whole game as a Terran and they're just running Zealots in from all sides to get those Widowmine drops across to force the Protoss back into their corner. Meanwhile, though, the army supply is still in favor of Terran. 2-2 starting, but it's not there yet. And these guys are kind of separated off on their own. There are 10 medevacs still out. Losing a few medevacs really is not that big of a problem, but oh! A lapse in the map vision and the pressure of Clem allows a Storm to come and take out all the repairing SCVs. The Bio's trying to fight their little hearts out. The Liberator does do some good damage, but it's getting overwhelmed. This Bio's going to run in, though, on the left. Zealot's running into that base as well. Clem, he doesn't care about the command center. He needs to get back up his ramp. He needs to get back up his ramp, but oh, and he taps out. He was actually just losing too much there. Everything fell apart so quickly at the end of that game. Let's rewind. So these guys were already like double or triple stim. Did they get hit by anything? Maybe this Colossus comes out and shoots them and kills all the Marines, or maybe he just felt like, oh, I've lost too much at home. Too many Zealots. Yeah, I guess he just felt like there was too much going on. And it was, I mean, yeah, he was probably dead to be fair. MAXPAX had a 5th and a 4th, both fully mining. He's got a Colossus out. He's warping in Zealots and a High Templar. I doubt you're able to overwhelm with this army and kill everything in the production. Whilst at home, you're hanging on with the dregs of a Terran force. 2 barracks exposed on the low ground. Not going to be able to rally to safety. And what a fun action-packed game that was. Very well played by MAXPAX. Gets himself a 2-0 versus CLEM, relying on the storm drops.